Well, we're really at this point in the season, aren't we? It seems 1 minute the highs are so high, you can never come down. And then the next minute, you got analysts talking about how much of the team you should get rid of and trade talks.
That's show business for you. One day you're the most important guy who ever lived. The next day you're some schmo working in a box factory. I heard that.
I have to admit, it's not looking too good. 6 losses in the last 7 games. We're a far cry away from December and early January. But what's next for the Montreal Canadiens? Let's talk about it.
We let the people decide.
There are 28 games left in Montreal's season, and they need to perform almost perfectly if they want to acquire one of those last playoff spots. That's if historical data is accurate. They want to aim for something like 95 points. They're currently at 55. Do they have 20 wins in them out of the next 28 games? That would be a tough one. But on the bright side, other competition in the league is not performing up to previous year's standards. It's a much tighter race in the Atlantic Division and the Eastern Conference. So they might be able to squeak in with 15 wins and, a handful of overtime losses. Possible, but again, not likely. With that in mind, analysts and insiders have started talking about trade options, about what's going to happen near deadline, about the strategy Montreal needs to take in order to set them up for success next season. The prospect pool is full. A lot of insiders and analysts place Montreal in the top 3 prospect pools in the NHL. But is there room for them? And do they fill a need that Montreal has? There's a lot of opinions out there, and I'm not sure where I land with all of them. There's analysts saying that Montreal should swing for the fences and acquire a top 10 guy, more specifically a forward. But this organization is cautious. For a long time now, it seems like the market errs on the side of safety. Instead of swinging for the fences, it seems like management chooses to have a more well-rounded team. And that definitely tracks with this season, where, line 3 and line 4 are often looked at as strong support lines with the hope that line 1 and line 2 produces. But has line 1 and line 2 been producing? I think certain individuals from line 1 and line 2 have produced. So that brings me to what I wanted to kind of share with you guys today and have a little bit of fun with. A tier list thing. These are always fun, right? This is probably going to make a lot of people angry, so I'm going to preface this really well. This is just gut initial reactions to how I felt each player did so far this season. It definitely doesn't come from a place of where I think they are stat-wise, although I have a pretty good idea of each individual and how they perform stat-wise. I just don't know everyone's historical stats and whether or not they've improved year after year, like Nick Suzuki, for example. And even at that, I think I'll be wrong on a lot of things, and I'll be personally wrong about some of what I say today, but I'm going to do my best and hope that this is entertaining. So we start with Josh Anderson. Certainly, Mr. Anderson has done better than he did last year. Last year, he was snake bitten. A lot of analysts said that he had among the worst contract in the NHL. I think this year he wrote a different story for himself. He's currently cracked the second line, and I think that's a reward for how much he's been sacrificing his body. He'll drive toward the net and he'll get really great opportunities. The thing is, he is never able to clinch it. Why has his shot percentage gone down so low? It doesn't make sense. If his shot percentage returned to what he was doing earlier with the Canadiens and with Columbus, he would have double the goals this season. He would be concretely in the second line in terms of performance. But that's comparing this year to last year. In terms of what the Canadiens need him to produce, does he meet expectations? I don't even think so necessarily. I think he's below expectations, but because of how he's been performing over the last little while, I'm going to put him at meets. I think he's demonstrated that he can do it. He just needs to be doing it every game, and he needs individuals on his line that can help him do it. He hasn't really received a lot of help. And that's in contrast to Joel Armia in a lot of ways, because Armia is another big body who was a value acquisition by the Montreal Canadiens. He comes up big so often, and it is such a utilitarian part of the team that I think losing him will make a huge impact on the composition of the team. His salary says that he is a bottom 6 guy, and he's certainly matched that. And in a lot of ways, being on special teams, able to set the tone, going out there often on the first shift in a lot of games, he would more than make up for a lack of performance on worse years. But the current year, he is, I think, 6th. Dang it, I was right. He's 6th on the team in points. That's why I am going to put Armia in exceeds. Owen Beck. We haven't seen much out of Owen Beck. He returned to the lineup 2 games ago, and he made an impact. He was very visible on the ice, and he looked great. The next game, not so much. He had 1 shot on net, and it was a high danger shot. I think it may have gone off the inside of the post, but he didn't perform as well. I think that depending on what the Montreal Canadiens do this year with contracts that are ending, we could see Beck in the lineup starting next season. He's 21 years old. A lot of individuals are saying he would benefit from another couple years in the cooker, kind of like Emil Heineman. But in some ways, I disagree because Montreal is trying to play important hockey right now, and I think he would benefit from being with the big boys. I still hesitate to say that he's exceeding. He's exceeding in terms of his AHL production. He's doing really good in the AHL. He was selected as an all-star. But with such a small sample size, 5 games played in the NHL so far, and not very many black and white stats to look at. He's -2, but he's great on the faceoff. I should have mentioned that. He is really good on the faceoff, which makes him a really good candidate to replace an individual who's up on contract, Christian Dvorak. He has 70% faceoff percentage this season. I'm going to put Beck at a meets. Alexandre Carrier, I don't think we have to talk about this long. He is exceeding expectations. Gosh, does he excel? I don't think he excels. He would have to be, I think for excels, my marker is that they need to be game changing. He is kind of game changing. No, I think that he just added stability to the team. So I'm going to put him in exceeds. He's been great since he joined the team. I mean, there was a huge correlation between him joining the team and then going on a tear, right? Yeah, I don't know how much more I want to even talk about that. He's just defensively sound. He plays a really safe game at stability. Cole Caulfield, saying that he meets having a career year, right? He's having a personal best. That would be unfair. Saying that he exceeds, I think more fits with the narrative. If I put him at excels, I don't disagree that he's excelling because he is having a career year, but I think we can still expect a lot more out of Caulfield. And especially right now, this is topical because the first line hasn't been doing great over the past 7 games. They've been invisible, but Caulfield has been probably one of the individuals who has been showing up in the goals and assists category more than the others. So I'm going to put him in exceeds, hoping that he can one up this year and perform even better next year. Kirby Dach. It looked like Kirby Dach was back in a big way, maybe like 7 or 8 games ago. He had a 2-goal game. Did he have a 2-goal game? He scored in back-to-back games. Right, he scored twice against Utah. So he shows some of his ability that he didn't have at the start of the season. But you have to remember, he's the second line center, and 22 points at this part of the season. I think it's below expectations of what a second line center should be performing. But on this rebuilding team, is it unfair to say that he's performing below what we should expect? I think, yeah, actually, I think definitely. But he's only just getting started within the past couple of months. He has been kind of petering out over the last few games. I think he's got 3 points in the last 5 games. That's completely in line with the rest of the forward group over the last 5 games, though. They told us we'd have to be patient with him. And I think that patience is in short supply, and I think we need to continue somehow being patient with him. But could we acquire someone more important? Have we grown past him? Is there a team that would benefit better from Kirby Dach right now? And what kind of value could we get out of him? Is he clogging up the system? For now, I'm just going to put him at meats. Oh, I just went and had something to eat. Where were we? Jakub Dobeš. This is kind of a tough one. So he was the golden boy there for a little bit. Was it one shutout, 5 wins, his first 5 games in the NHL? And then since then, it's been 2 losses and 1 loss in OT. He has a .917 save percentage and only 2.45 goals against. So he's performing a lot better than Montembeault. It would be strange for me to say that he's at a meets right now. Although I think that the initial impression of him was very good, and we're going to kind of find a middle ground sooner than later. I think I have to, at this point, give him an exceeds. If you talked to me before those losses, he would be in an excels easily. He broke records. He came in like a ball of fire. But at this point, we're going to put him in exceeds, and that might change game to game. That's kind of how this community reacts. A very reactionary community. Either he's the next Carey Price or send him to the moon. Christian Dvorak. Let's get this straight. This guy's not being paid millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to be a top line center, but we know him. He's been around, and he's not performing very well this season. And the one thing he's good at, he hasn't even been performing as good at that one thing, which is faceoffs. I'm going to put him below, and I don't think it's going to be controversial. Jake Evans is exceeding, but does he excel? Do you know how much Jake Evans' contract is for right now and what his salary is? It's 1.7. I'm going to say he's excelling. He is 5th on the team for points. Like, he was playing 4th line center role, right? Yeah, I think that's more than exceeds. An extremely important role, playing way above his line expectancy. He's essentially the second C on the Canadiens. He's beating Dach in terms of points and production totals. But not just that, he's almost beating him. They're about tied for time on the ice. Yeah, Jake Evans is more valuable to the Canadiens than Kirby Dach is. Sorry, that just broke my brain. I don't know why that didn't occur to me before. Brendan Gallagher, the veteran. I'm just going to put him here just for one moment. I want to look at his stats. I don't want to say anything dead wrong. I'm going to keep him in meets. You know why? Because he's performing about the same as Anderson, maybe a little bit better, but the thing is, he's getting paid $1 million more than Anderson, who, like I said, is often discussed as having one of the worst contracts in the NHL. So I think Gallagher has a worse contract than Anderson. $6.5 million for Brendan Gallagher. Caden Gooley. I don't even think we really understand how important Gooley is to the composition of the team and how big he is going to be in the future. And I know he keeps getting injured. It's just this last one has got to be the flukiest garbage. It's so unfortunate. The silver lining is that he played this year. Like, it was a development year for him. He got a lot better as the year went on. You could see it. He was taking on more responsibilities. He felt that he was becoming the leader in that role that he's playing for future generations. I think with Gooley around, we're not going to need the veteran names like Matheson and Savard, accompanied with Carrier, who is also a very sensible, still a young guy, but probably at his ceiling in terms of his play, where we can expect him going in the future. With Gooley, there's a couple of years where he can become better. And now with Gooley out of the lineup, you're seeing Jack-Eye having to take some extra time on the ice, and you're seeing some problems crop up. You're seeing long defensive zone times, and you're seeing sticks not being tied up in front of the net, and some lazy plays, lazy attempts to get out of the zone. Gooley is very, very important. Heineman, another individual who's currently out, and we're kind of seeing some pain from him being out. Although I think with Beck being implemented into the lineup, that pain has been relieved a little bit. I still miss Heineman being out there and the forechecks that he could provide, along with good defensive zone knowledge and the ability to get the pucks out of the zone a lot. So in a way, he was a utilitarian player, and he's just getting started. I can't wait to see more of Heineman, because I think now that he's being afforded the chance, he might have been able to come up earlier, but now that he's really getting a shot at it, I feel he is developing at I don't know, I'm searching for what I want to say, not a better pace, but his development is more quality. You hear a lot that players feel like they have to adjust to the pace of the NHL, and they need to adjust to the strength of their opponents. And it seems like just in the short time that Heineman has played, he's improved in those two categories a lot. Really mindful of the forecheck, and is no slouch putting in the physical effort in the offensive zone. Lane Hutson, it would be really unfair to say that he even just exceeds. He might be the first defensive rookie Calder in the league since, is it Makar? I think Cale Makar, right? Quinn Hughes didn't get it because his Calder year was considered Makar's year, right? Is that how it worked? It can only go up from here. He does. I know that there's opponents to this observation. He does at times look weak in defensive situations, especially when he overextends himself and he has to get back. He often needs to take a penalty to diffuse like a rush play. He loses battles along the boards enough that it's remarkable. But the amount of effort that he puts into puck possession, he strips individuals of the puck all the time. He's great at forechecking and backchecking, racing for the puck, excellent at keeping puck possession himself. But I do worry that he gets bumped at the blue line if a defender is seeing the opportunity to do so. But yeah, there's no question he's excelling. Everybody is praising him. Everybody around the league wishes that they had a Lane Hutson on their team. You know, this is controversial. Patty Laine. What do we think of Patty Laine? This is probably the worst time to do something like this for him, right? When he was getting all those power play goals, he was treated like royalty. Now everybody is picking on him. He's getting his first look at what being in the Montreal market is really like. The highs are high, the lows are low. But at his contract, if he's not producing at a point, like a 0.7, a 0.8 points per game, he is coming in below expected value and below performance. That's just it. That's just business. I really, really like him. I like him a lot. I like the way that he has that long reach and can dangle around his opponents. He's got to be tough to play against. Like when he has puck possession and he's moving with it, it looks hard to stop him. He's saying that it's a confidence thing. He's saying that he's having a confidence thing right now. And that's fine. He is having that, you know, if he says it, he is having that problem. The thing is, 5-on-5, it's never worked yet. So yeah, it's worse now that also Power Play 1 is not clicking. It's not his fault. I wouldn't say that it's his fault that Power Play 1's not working. They're getting the puck to him when they're set up in the zone, but they haven't been getting set up in the zone really lately. So yeah, it's going to look ugly and his production's going to go down. But how many points does he even have 5-on-5? Like it's just not working in general now. That being said, he's only played 26 games. He has 18 points, I think. One big game would put him above his expected points per game. And I don't know if you could really criticize him right now, understanding that he just came off a big injury. He had been on a hiatus for a while. I think that we have to give him the benefit of the doubt for a little while, guys. Like, come on, we're paying him a lot of money, right? You want to see him up here, but for right now, and maybe for a bit longer, it's going to be between these two. So I'm going to say, give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what he can work with, what he can whip up. Give him a little bit more time and give him a little bit more of our patience. Mayu. So I've been seeing kind of a lot of, I've been seeing a lot of people that don't think he's ready, but I do. I think he's ready. How many goals has he gotten in the NHL? He's played 6 games. He's gotten 2 goals and 2 points. He's putting himself in the right places, and he is definitely contributing towards games being won. And I disagree that he is showing a lot of holes in his defensive game. He's good against the boards. He knows how to get the puck out. It's the high danger situations that I think he struggles. And I don't know if his skating is all that great. For me, as an AHLer that wants to have a good camp year and join the team next season, I think he's exceeding expectations. But I haven't really thought on this a lot, and I haven't observed a lot. This is a real gut reaction from me. If you disagree with me, I'm not too. This isn't a hill that I want to die on. Mike Matheson is kind of a hill that I want to die on. I think a lot of individuals would say that he is operating below his standards, and there definitely are games where that is true. But he's right where we need him to be. I think he's like a 4.75 salary per year player. He plays big minutes for us. He plays on the PK. He's a leader for the group. He's 7th on the team for points. He's an important player for the Habs, and I think he gets a lot of unjust criticism and a lot of reactionary criticism when he makes a big mistake, which does happen quite a bit. He gets absolutely roasted. He's a local guy, and you're open to criticism when that's the case, right? Samuel Montembeault. This could get me in trouble. Selected for the 4 Nations. I might put Montembeault at meets. I would put him lower, but I think we're paying him like what, $3 million a year as a starting goalie. If he had like a 5x5, yeah, I would. I think I'd put him below expectations. What's his goals against again? He's basically at a 3 goals against average, which is worse than Dobesh, but also just not really good in terms of a starting goalie. Like what is he ranked in the league for the 32 starting goalies? Yeah, so he is, according to, Hockey News, they put out an article a few days ago. He is ranked the 31st worst starting goalie in the league. So I think that's based on goals against average and save percentage, maybe amongst other stats. But it's hard to argue with that. I know that there's a lot of people that are big Monty boosters, but there's also a lot of people who understand that he is not the strongest starting goaltender, and there's a lot of people who will outright say that they need to trade for a better starting goaltender. And I kind of agree with that, but we have players in the pool that could be our number 1 goalie in a few years. Dobesh could be our number 1 goalie. We don't even know yet. We don't know what we have in Dobesh yet. But Monty is the best that we have in terms of proven goalies at the moment. And of course, I'm always going to support him. I just, there's a realistic side of me that understands that we could be doing so much better. And we've been spoiled in the past. We've had, so many of the best goaltenders in the NHL and the Montreal Canadiens that there might be some bias introduced to us. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I had to get a drink. This video is going to be a lot longer than what I thought it was going to be. So where were we? Newhook. Kind of struggling, isn't he? But he always shows a lot of signs of urgency and care, and like he wants to do well. It's just he isn't able to pull off the right moves in order to make it happen. He's getting paid about $3 million to play. I think 22.9. He has 17 points this season. And he's played a lot of time on the second, and I think he played on the first line there for a while, right? I hate to do this to our illustrious eyebrow boy, but I think he's playing below his level, right? You wouldn't suspect that Jake Evans and Yoel Armia would be playing much stronger hockey than Alex Newhook, who had a lot of pedigree and was drafted 16th overall, same as Armia, but Evans was, I think, a 7th rounder or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to put him below, but he could be in meets. Pezzetta, you are the individual who I think is struggling the most, and the writing is on the wall. I hate to say it because I've always really liked Pezzetta. I liked his fire. I liked his drive. He makes a lot of mistakes, but when he was doing well, it was so fun to watch him. He's played 14 games, 0 goals, 0 assists, -4. What was his best season? He had 15 points in 22-23, 7 goals, 8 assists. His time on the ice has never been stellar. I think at this point, the team's just grown past him. David Savard, nice. He's an important part of the team. What I struggle with Savard is, could someone else step in and do what he does, but better if they just had some of his fundamental abilities? Shot blocking, the stay-at-home defensive style, never overextending yourself. I'm biased because I really like Savard. I think he's a character. I think he's a leader on the team, and a lot of the players look up to him. They look up to him as Papa Savvy, right? He's one of my favorite players on the team. Armia is also a favorite player of mine. I think another person would probably put Armia down in a lower tier, but I'm going to try to be conservative and place Savard in meets. There might be people actually putting him below. He's a very slow skater. He doesn't provide a lot of offensive edge. Yeah, he's just a real big safety net on defense. This, I almost don't think is controversial. He's regressed. There's been points of the season where he's struggled. But Slav, we need to have patience with him. He's 20 years old. He can't even drink in the United States. I think we have to have patience with the boy. Looking at his stats last year, he finished with 50 points. He made it to that 50-point mark. 20 goals, 30 assists. At the rate he's going now, he will finish with 44 or 45 points total. The big problem is the goal department. He's picking up those apples, but I think a lot of times it's just subsequent. I do see him making good plays and putting the puck in the right place in the offensive zone and getting the primary apple, but he needs to be more of an offensive powerhouse, and I don't nearly see him driving the net enough. They've really got him parked up in front of the net often, waiting for that tip, and I don't know why they haven't changed that strategy. Why can't he be more of a roamer? What is it that he has demonstrated that he's not capable of being a floater, or is it just that Caulfield is so good at it? Because if either one of those are the cases, I'd say now's a good time to experiment a little bit, because Caulfield isn't exactly knocking it out of the park, and what Slav is doing currently is not working. He's also taking less shots per game and has a lower shot percentage. That just, for me, that is very indicative of his confidence. He's not confident enough to shoot. We've seen recently he had a very good opportunity to shoot, but instead decided to pass underneath an opponent, and I think it got smothered up in front of the net or something like that. You remember that? All right, that's enough about Slav. I feel really bad about Slav. I really wanted to see him have a big season, and the way that he was talking, he was going to have a big season. Been in the gym, he looks like he's in great physical shape.
We could all use a clean sheet sometimes.
Struble, is it strange that I think that he totally met where we expected him to be, but he got cycled out below Xhekaj and never really utilized all that much. He got played decent minutes. He even provided some offense. -9 after 29 games. Let's look at Arbor. 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. 15 minutes a game. -7 after 51 games. Yeah. To tell you the truth, I thought there would be a compelling difference in plus minus, but Xhekaj's held it together pretty good, and I guess that speaks to his improvement. Whereas Jaden, yeah, he didn't spend as much time playing with the team, and the results are not so compelling of a difference. I still think, considering where he is in his career, you can't really get mad at it. He's 23. Xhekaj is 24. Struble played less time in the NHL than Xhekaj. He's still developing, and he could develop for the next 2 years and become a really sensible defenseman. I like Struble. I wish he had more opportunities, and unfortunately, he might not get it with the Habs. This is a contract year for him as well, right? He might have to be dealt. Finally, Captain Nick. He improves every single year that he plays. He's demonstrated that he is in the top 16 centers in the league. But does he excel or exceed expectations? He's leading the team in points. He's only 25 years old. Again, top 16 centers in the league. He's getting paid under $8 million a year with the cap going up. I'm putting him in Excels. He could be the Habs' first point per game player since, what did they say? Since Kovalev. That blows my mind. Thinking about the history of the Montreal Canadiens, how many incredible offensive players they've had on the team, and it's just been a drought for forward, like strong top of the league offensive forwards. The last time that the Habs had a 100-point player was in 1985-86 with Mats Naslund. That's bonkers. And finally, Arber Xhekaj, I'm going to place him. Where am I going to place him? He's improved. There was a point in his game where he was being cycled with Struble, and it felt like, and I don't know if this was the language that they used, but St. Louis said that he had to recreate his game in order to be a useful component to the team. It was something to that extent, and he's obviously done that. So I'm gonna put Xhekaj in exceeds because he's done what he's asked, and he's been a fixture on the team. So looking at this, am I happy with this? We got Jake Evans, Hudson, and Suzuki in Excels. I like that. I like that a lot. When I look at exceeds, Armia, Carrier, Caulfield, Dobesh, Gouli, Heineman, Mayu, Xhekaj. Yeah, I'd probably, I don't know, just gut. I think I'd probably put Mayu down here. Gosh, I might put Caulfield in Meats as well. Meats, Anderson, Beck, Doc. I might put Doc down there. Why did we put Doc here? Because we have to be patient with him, right? Ugh, Line is going down too. I feel more comfortable with this, but maybe it's because I need to eat something. I'm feeling a little bit hangry. This was just for fun anyway. This is like my spitball impression of where everyone should slot in. If we were to say, okay, where do they fit for expectations? Excels, exceeds, meets, below, and struggling. What do you think? Where would you put everyone? I'm going to make this list public, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to put it below in the comments. If you're on Twitter, you could send me a screenshot of your lists. I'm at Whiskeylung on Twitter. Another fun tier list that we could have done is who should we keep, who should we trade, who should we resign, so on and so forth. But there's going to be some movement. There's something that's going to happen sooner than later. And it's because the system is clogged up. It's because there are a lot of young prospects that deserve a turn with individuals who are not meeting expectations. There's no reason that Beck shouldn't get a shot when Dvorak is not meeting expectations. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And you know what? Like the video. Helps me out with search results or something. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I'd love to have you. And as always, I'll see you down below in the comments.